Is there an Illuminati, Ice Cube? You've been around a long time.
Probably so.
Crucial 13, you all appreciated. Shout out to you.
Get crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the city I'm in right now.
Get Ice Cube on live with you. That would be badass. You rock Ralph. Hey, we can do that. We can do that. And that's why I always say there are a lot of celebrities even waking up. And we are the real celebrities, deep divers. But there are a lot of people, even in the Matrix, waking up who have been in that machine.
I saw you on Bill Maher, and you was talking about the record industry, and you said that the record industry uses social engineering and rap to encourage criminal behavior. At what point did you realize that?
Oh man, you know, after I got mature in the game, after I knew that, you know, records were made by committee.
All right, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. Now, a lot of people are seeing this Ice Cube thing blow up right now, and you know, some people, you know, like me and a couple other enlightened channels are like, hey man, it's a great thing when you see somebody who was a part of that system, a part of that machine, actually start speaking against it and coming out against the Matrix. But then you got people that say, you know, hey man, remember, he was part of NWA, which started the ball on, you know, really conditioning kids to take this gangster shit mainstream, which I agree with. I agree that group was definitely used to push the objective. But do you really think that a 17, 18-year-old kid who's just rapping, you know, what he sees in his environment is the mastermind behind that? I could literally right now, if I was one of these Illuminati people, go walk around my neighborhood right now and find 5 assholes right now rapping about the most wickedest, sinister, gang bangingest shit right now and be like, hey, do y'all want a record deal? They gonna take the record deal. And then guess what I'm gonna do? Promote that shit to everybody in the fucking world. But do that mean them 5 dumbasses that I went out there and put on my label, are they the ones like, you know, oh, we gonna control the masses? And no, they're not. So we're about to take a look at, you know, how Ice Cube pretty much explains this in this video. Let's go.
A lot of albums, a lot of dope songs people like are made by a group of people telling rappers what to say, or what's dope, or that line ain't good enough, or, you know, let's change it to this, get somebody up here that can write, and all this kind of hip hop by committee. And yeah, the record companies, it be they people in there. You know, I've never had an A&R. I've never had a record company guy tell me shit about my music, about how to make it.
And you know, for people that don't understand, like, cause some people are listening being like, man, that's bullshit, dog. Ice Cube, they told him what to do, cuz. They told him. Listen, he was on Priority Records. You know who Priority Records is? The same record label that gave Master P 85 to 90%. I think he ended up getting 90, but started off at like an 85-15 split. In royalty, in percentages. This is a company that didn't give a shit about what the hell you're talking about. Just talk about whatever you want to talk about and we'll do business with you. Again, watch my Master P versus the industry videos, okay? Type Crucial 13 Master P. All the videos gonna pop up. I chronicle all the dealings with the industry Master P had and how he was against this whole narrative, this whole satanic agenda and everything. Priority wasn't really into all that. You know, a lot of the wicked stuff that happened out of a lot of this falls back on, you know, big major record label companies, and also, which I'm working on a documentary on, Ruthless Records. There's something to what Eazy-E and Jerry Heller was doing. They was into some dark shit. And again, you see the picture up there right now. Who is that? That's Master P, Silk the Shocker, Ice Cube, Snoop Dogg, Mack 10. Okay, all these people was on Priority Records, pretty much running the table over there.
You know, some of it they liked, some of it they didn't, some of it they raised their eyebrow to, but that's what I turned in. That's what they had to accept, and you know, that's hip hop to me.
What gave you the business mind, right? Over the BET Awards, of course they played Straight Outta Compton, the Big Three. I seen the Big Three as well that weekend. But you know, in all these things, it seems like you knew what you wanted from the door, right? Going back to Straight Outta Compton, they talking about everybody's so happy to just get paid and so happy to be on tour. But it was clear that you were always about, where's my money? Where's my contract? How come I'm not this? What gave you that business mind early on when especially even artists today are still not on it with all the knowledge that we know and everything that we see? You can Google so many things. What gave you that business mind so early on?
Watching, you know, people I know and like, you know, have to kind of beg for their money, you know, like, and I ain't gonna say no names, but I've seen people that really, you know, can I get paid? Can I get paid? You know, and it was just, I saw that at, you know, 14, 15 years old, hanging around the industry, just had my antennas up. And, you know, when it was time for me to do records, I had a publicist who later became my manager, lady by the name of Pat Charlamagne. And if you see the Friday movie, she helped me produce that movie, Friday. You'll see her name on it. But she was the publicist for NWA. And I would show up to the interviews early. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, if you can't be on time, be early. So I would show up to all the interviews early. Sometimes them dudes wouldn't even show up, like Eazy on his way, Dre on his way, but they never showed up, so I'll be the only one there. So we got to chop it up, and she was basically like, do you know who Jerry Heller is? And I'm like, no, who is that?
And you know, this is what a lot of the record labels and a lot of these, you know, quote unquote slave owner mentality type people want out of people. They don't want y'all to be about y'all business. They don't want you to be motivationally driven and stuff like that. They depend on your ignorance, your laziness. They depend on you not reading the contracts, not showing up to meetings and all this. And it's funny because a lot of the same people that don't have that type of drive, don't look into shit, don't read, don't do all of this type of stuff, they're the ones complaining about getting screwed over all the time. And it's you screwing yourself, really, because if you do what Ice Cube did and figure out who he's dealing with here, you'll actually have the wherewithal to be like, no, I'm not gonna do this. It's that simple. This why we'll talk about the so-called slave days. This is why the biggest thing they did against the slaves was took away the books and taught them how to not read, because reading was so, when they say reading is fundamental, they meant that shit. I mean, it was literally your way to freedom. It's literally like the Moors taught, is if you know the law, the Black's Law Dictionary, the law dictionaries and all this type of stuff, you could read that, you could literally, you know, get your freedom and actually learn the laws and stuff like that to where you're not being governed by anything. But that's a whole nother story and a rabbit hole right there, which we'll talk about later on the channel. But a lot of people who think, man, but Ice Cube was part of that. He was so part of it, guys. Yeah, he was. But guess what? He left that group after their first mainstream album, which wasn't even meant to be mainstream, which we'll find out later on in this. He left right away. In 89, he left the group. The group album, Straight Outta Compton, came out in 88. Get that, 88. This dude left the next year and then went solo because he found out right from the jump, because he wasn't a moron, that, hey, I'm dealing with snakes right now.
You need to look him up, because you just got to watch him. How's your paperwork? You know, she started just, have you signed a contract with them yet? And I'm like, nah, you know, I ain't signed nothing. And she was like, you need to make sure you get an attorney before you sign anything with them.
And you know, I want to go back to what you were talking about with the record labels, right? Because you said they make songs by committee.
Yes.
So I always think to myself, well, couldn't the artists change that if they just simply stop making the rap that has the criminal intent? But you saying that they're being pushed to make these kind of records?
Yeah.
Man,
a long time ago. It's been happening forever. Some of your Some of the songs that you love, some of the MCs you love, you know, it was done by committee. It wasn't, you know, a man with a pen and a mic. You know what I'm saying?
Now this I disagree with, because the powers that be, or whoever y'all want to call them, I call them they, you know, whoever they is, these motherfuckers that's fucking with the world, they have conditioned society already by pushing negative shit onto them to where the machine is creating itself now. Now you got like, it's almost like, you know how they say the AI is learning at a fast rate? It's like they create the AI, the artificial intelligence, and then now the artificial intelligence is learning from other artificial intelligence. It's becoming more powerful that way. That's how they did human beings. Once they pushed the agenda out there, they got society to start repeating it and perpetuating it. Now everybody's a savage. Everybody is demoralized, and you know, continuing perpetuating this agenda that's going on. So they ain't gonna look for people that's spreading a positive message. Like if you watch my Why America is Immoral Marxism video, you will understand. I paint a perfect picture in there on how this communism thing works and how these people that invade other countries, how they demoralize you first. They're so far with the demoralization that if anybody puts out any type of positive message that goes against the grain of what they're doing right now, they're gonna take it down real quick. You think they're about to stop just because an artist is like, okay, I don't want to rap about this no more? Well, get the fuck off my label, because we got a lot of savage wannabe kids that gladly come up here and start rapping about killing and all this other shit we want them to rap about. So in a way, it's like, okay, they don't even have to force people to do it anymore, but what they can do is say, that's what we're looking for. Now, instead of telling people, hey, we want to push out an evil message, because of course they're not just going to come out and say that. What they're going to tell the people is, hey, there's a high demand for this. So we want you to like talk about this and that, like Ice Cube was saying. Talk about this. This is hot right now. You know, everybody's talking about thoughts. Let's do a song called Thought Bot. You know, or everybody's talking about pack them up. Let's do a song called Kill Everyone and fucking Party. Okay? Let's make a dance for it. Whatever. The pack them up dance.
Was NWA ever, you think they was ever part of the big corporate agenda to push negative content?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were.
Now you see right there, admitting, yes, NWA was definitely used to push that agenda. So he's fully well aware of what he's talking about. Everything he's been saying about the private prisons and the record companies in cahoots under the Vanguard umbrella, the Black Rock umbrella. He is fully aware of the role he has been used as a pawn to play in this, and fully aware of everything else he's talking about.
But not a willing, knowing participant. Mm-hmm. We thought our music was gonna be underground. We didn't make our music big. Mm-hmm. You know, we did not make our music blow up. We just did it. And we thought it was gonna be underground, dirty street records. Mm-hmm. We thought our records was gonna be sold with the Richard Pryor comedy albums and Red Fox and the you know, dirty Dolomite records and shit.
Exactly, and you got to remember, back in that time in the 80s, late 80s, it was not socially acceptable to have that on the mainstream being pumped out to millions of people. So of course, anybody that's making music like that, they don't expect that shit to, you know, get big. But even if they did expect it to get big, they're fucking kids. Kids are rebellious. They're rapping about the shit they see in their neighborhood. Like I said, right now, I know people right now making music right now that, you know, they're just people I know and shit like that, rapping about the most bogus shit you could think of. Is this because they're the Illuminati? No. They're just conditioned by this whole global agenda to demoralize people. People's favorite entertainers, people's favorite bloggers, people's favorite rappers, favorite artists right now go back and forth with somebody else and say the most hateful, craziest shit to each other, but that's because they were demoralized by the system. I don't think everybody's the Illuminati because they do this, but the people that's taking that and saying, ooh, I got the power to really get this some traction, Now you got to start questioning them. Who are they with? So the record labels that come over there and, you know, like Ruthless Records, I don't know. There's something about that. Stay tuned for the documentary. There's something to them. They had some ties to where they could be like, okay, let's push this demoralization even further and let's, you know, break the glass ceiling with this. Let's push this out. I mean, imagine being 16, 17, 18. You're just a rapper. You know, you're dealing with gangs and drug dealers and stuff like that. And you know, you real like young with the shit, savage with the shit. And then all of a sudden some white man comes along and is like, here, we're going to put your record on the radio. What the fuck you going to say? Man, I don't want to mislead my peoples, cuz. No, you don't give a fuck about misleading people. You're rebellious. You think this shit's cool. You think it's cool to show people how rebellious you are. Hell yeah, put that on the radio. Thank you. Fuck you mean?
That's what we thought. You know, we didn't have a clue that it was going to blow up until it blew up. You know, I think, you know, one was MTV banning Straight Outta Compton video. Mm-hmm. Another was the letter from the FBI. Those are two things that started to just blow the group up. But we didn't blow ourselves up. You know, everybody blame us, but we didn't do it. You know, we was doing music. We actually had stopped worrying about the industry as much. We was basically doing music that people in our neighborhood would like.
I feel like it was like purposely driven from the West Coast. I feel like on the East Coast you had, you know, the Chuck D's and the KRS-Ones, and those brothers were talking about knowledge itself and Islam, more positive thing. But I feel like with the West Coast, they really said, we're gonna give you bitches, 40s, and blunts and violence.
And he's right with that. Because, you know, if you're really paying attention to where a lot of the propaganda come from, hey, Hollywood. Okay, so you would assume like all this weird culture and the demoralizational culture comes from that West area. All right, I don't think it's any deeper than that. I think it's straight up, that's where they're pushing out all their little agendas and shit first, and then it spreads like a virus onto everybody else. But it first comes from over there. I mean, look at the culture over there. That's the first, like, you know, we talking about San Francisco. We talking about, like, we don't even got to go into that. Y'all already know where I'm going with this, but a lot of agendas have started from there. A lot of laws being passed over there they're trying to get into the fold that normalize certain things that are egregious. And, you know, that it just starts off from over there. The whole gang culture, and it's like a lot of the gangs, like especially in the Midwest, started off as like, you know, just like organizational type deals, you know, like they started off kind of like good things, even the ones on the West Coast, but it was over there where it was normalized to make these terrorist organizations. I know some people look at it like, man, they just call it terrorist organizations to give it a bad name. No, they got a bad name because they were acting terroristic. They started shooting up their neighborhood. They started selling drugs. They became terrorist organizations, literally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was, y'all had Coogee Rap and,
Coogee,
you know what I mean, Schoolie D.
But the West Coast
you know,
blew up, though.
Yeah, the West Coast, it just, it was a whole different vibe, because we were talking about, you know, the gangbang mentality, you know what I mean, really. And just kind of making sense of what we was seeing and going through and living through and hearing about. And, you know, we was just making music out of it instead of, you know, hearing all these tragic stories and not having a creative outlet to express ourselves about them, you know.
And right here, I mean, you can see Charlamagne keep framing it to where it's like it's falling back on the artist. Yes, anybody who knows my channel know I don't do the excuse making. I really hold people accountable, hold myself accountable, and all that. But yeah, it is bad to rap about all this shit, and you know I can go days on talking about that. But that's a different level to what Ice Cube is bringing to the forefront. He's talking about these labels promoting it. I can literally in this city find anybody saying the most worst shit in the world. Now, if I'm a responsible record label that knows that I can promote this to the masses and get this out to a whole bunch of ears. Why would I take that, some guy rapping about all the worst shit in the world, and say, hey, I'm gonna put you on my platform and pump this out to 1 million different people? So what Charlamagne doing is really taking the focus off of who Ice Cube is telling you, hey, these guys are, this is like engineered, and he's almost, Ice Cube is almost like falling into it, to what Charlamagne is saying, to where he's trying to explain like, hey, look, man, we're just rapping about what we seen in our environment and shit. We're not the ones taking this, promoting it to 1 million people, even though, why wouldn't you want yourself being promoted? Like I just explained earlier, you know, when you're a kid and shit, you're rebellious, you're rapping about all the shit you think is cool and whatever. Why wouldn't you want it to do that? But these people that so-called, you know, care about everybody and care about what's being pumped to people and care about like hate speech and all this type of stuff, why are they promoting that? And Charlamagne just keep alluding, well, you guys were rapping about this. Hey, the record companies was picking it up. The same record companies owned by the private prison owners, owned by Vanguard and BlackRock and them, are picking this up and pushing it out to people. Like one big mind control fucking psyop. And seeing how the topic is just so big right now, I mean, they gotta, you know, entertain it to a little bit, or else it just looks like they're avoiding the big question. But it just seems like a little tactic he's doing is, here, let's blame the actual rappers and not blame the same people that own the record companies in the private prison. Not only own that, but they own this little radio show that I'm actually interviewing you on. Yeah, they own y'all too. You guys are the ones that promote their hip hop. You promote all their shit for them. So I see why you have to come on here and make it look like, oh, it's the rapper's fault. And yes, we can get deep about how it's bad for a motherfucker to sit there and rap about killing and all the other type of shit. I did plenty videos about this, condemning that type of behavior. But let's stick to the subject right now. Who is pushing this shit out? Because Charlamagne, you and I both know that there is a guy, a comedian that came out around that time that got censored as soon as he started talking about the LGBT community, before they was known as the LGBT community. Andrew Dice Clay. If they don't want something on the airwaves, they gonna fight that shit to the death. Okay, so they're not helpless when it comes to pushing out this music, and you know that.
Hickory dickory dock. Oh! I don't know whether that means anything to you all. Charlamagne has already weighed in, never understood the humor, the sexism, the
Grabbing of the crotch.
The grabbing of the crotch, the leather outfit, the greased out hair.
You see how I look, which I already know. Great.
But for those of us who can appreciate a good dice joke, he's coming by to let us know what he's been up to. You look pretty good.
Thank you.
Do you feel weird talking to a black girl? Because how I know you is I know you from going on like the white boy shows. And I know that you look out in your audience and you see who's there. You see a smattering of black people. And probably the last place you thought you'd ever end up is here on the Black Girl Show.
No, what are you kidding me? I've been there.
Yeah, with black girls?
Yeah.
Oh.
When I started out in comedy and moved to L.A.,
Yes.
you know, after you do your set,
Yes.
you know, that's what you look for.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't looking for, you know, love. I was just looking to kill the next 8 hours till the next day.
You still get like groupies even though you're not the celebrity you want was?
I never had to be a celebrity to get chicks. Look at me.
He's not a bad looking
I might not
man.
be packing 15 like you, but I know what I'm doing with mine. You do any stand-up?
Nah.
No? All right.
Were
So you trying to make a comeback?
What's that?
You trying to make a comeback?
Well, that's.
Are you part of the show?
Yes, I'm a sidekick.
Yeah,
I think Mike Tyson has a better
what you
chance of
should.
making a comeback than you, though.
that's what you should be. A sidekick, a flunky,
Here's-
a bag carrier.
Like you would be the Dane
guy to
Cook.
get the
Like you would be the
coffee.
Dane Cook right now. You'd be like Dane Cook's sidekick right now.
I'm bigger than Dane Cook will ever be.
Oh, come on. Employee of the Month
Yeah.
makes one night with play
You know
like
what I
Soul
mean?
Plane.
And why am I talking to you, ass face? Tell
Oh,
me that. You know what? You're the guy that shaved your head to actually look on a lot of levels like an ass. That's what I think of you. You know what I mean? That's what I think of you.
All right, look, let me just. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what the hell's
I'm just
going
saying,
on
he
with
looks
Dice.
like a fat Fonzie.
You know what I mean?
All right.
You know what? I'll lose 5 pounds for you next time I come in, all right? And I'm sure your boyfriend will be very pleased.
Hickory
Hey,
dickory
you were
dock.
very good on the radio trying to put Dice down.
Oh, that was funny
You
in
look
85.
great with a pair of in your face.
That was funny in 85.
Funny today.
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you, did you put him up to that?
No.
It just seems like you let him do that.
Well, you know what? He did a year in jail. He came out. He decided that he, wants to put his life on the right track. He started sweeping floors at radio stations, selling drugs,
firearms, selling drugs. You know,
the usual. Yeah, and so he's been here.
So that's where the badass attitude comes from. that you did a year in jail. All right, good. Yeah.
So look. When are you going to be on HBO? Because you said a bunch of things, albums and all like that.
Everything's coming in order. The first thing I'm doing is shooting the VH1 show.
Okay.
And it's more or less coming out of retirement. Really trying to accomplish something, which you'll appreciate.
Yes.
In the world of stand-up comedy.
Yes.
That I haven't done. The goal is that I do Giant Stadium. That's what would be the HBO special.
So now the book that you're writing, is this an autobiography?
I wrote the book already. It's called The Filthy Truth.
Well,
I actually hand wrote my book.
Not me. I got a writing partner. She cost a fortune, but she's worth it.
No, I see. I had to write it myself, and I wrote it in print.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to use computers.
Yeah, me neither.
Were computers around back then?
Well, I mean, how old do you think I am? I could say 49.
You'll be 50 next year.
Is that too old? For you?
So,
I mean, you're not looking to bang me, are you?
Nah, it's like, I
like older chicks.
But you're sort of
You know
like a
what I'm
washed-up
saying?
prize fighter, you know what I'm saying?
What's that?
You're like a washed-up prize fighter.
You mean I'm somebody that did something real special and maybe now it's not as big as it was?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's coming from somebody that's been in jail and did nothing with his life.
But like I said, I'm on the come up. You're trying to make a comeback.
And go to jail.
Charlamagne's trying to turn his life around.
Try to be a good boy
and
now.
you
Is that
weren't
what you're
in New
doing?
York when Dice sold out Madison Square Garden.
The only comic to ever sell out the garden. Did you do that?
No.
Can you sell out your living room? That's what I want to know.
But I'm not
That's a very, very
I'm not a
clever
betting man,
answer.
but I don't think you can do it again.
That's another great.
Hey,
You
Goose,
name the price.
We got some dumps. I'm in the mood for a hickory dickory dock. Can you please throw it at us?
Hickory dickory dock.
Here we
Your
go.
sidekick was my. The clock struck 2. I dropped my goo. I dumped his jerk off on the next block. Oh!
All right, we'll be watching in March.
Thank you.
And
it was good sort of meeting you. You know what I mean?
All right, look, we're going to take a break.
All right.
Everybody, Andrew Dice Clay, thank you so
All
much
right,
for coming in
thank
the
you.
studio. Charlamagne, me and you
did all right.
are
He's all right.
here.
When a guy does go toe to toe, I give it up.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. You did good.
Oh.
You got me with a few things. When a guy gets me, I gotta say it.
All right.
You know what I mean? But I won.
Give it up for Andrew Dice Clay. Everybody, keep it where you got it.
So, and I show you the full clip just so you can get the full experience on what happened on there. And, that was early in his career, but he's always been like, helping the agendas that are coming out, you know what I mean, that are being pushed on the people. And he seems like, oh, these people can do so much when it comes to that community. And yeah, they gotta go. But when it comes to the black communities or the urban poor communities, any color, whatever, anybody that doesn't have money like that, anybody that's, intentionally being kept down in order to, demoralize them. Y'all think it's like a racist thing. No, it's actually a demoralization thing. But anybody who they're meant to keep demoralized, y'all feel so like, oh, it's their fault. Or y'all shouldn't be doing like the powers that be are so powerless when it comes to keeping that from hitting the fucking radio waves and shit. This is Ice Cube's fault that NWA was promoted by people who practice witchcraft to millions of people to help demoralize the youth. And yes, a few members of that group ended up helping the agenda completely. Dr. Dre, you can't tell me that dude ain't helping pushing some type of, agendas and behind the keyboards when it comes to a lot of these heavily influential artists. Eminem. I mean, I grew up liking Eminem and stuff like that, but that dude is the great-great-grandson of the guy who taught Aleister Crowley everything he knows. Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers is kin to Eminem. Eminem's mother wrote about it in her book.
Is there an Illuminati, Ice Cube? You've been around a long time.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I don't know none of them. None of them tell me, hey, I'm Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? I don't participate in none of that. So
now a lot of people right here could be like, yeah, he's lying. I know he's met some Illuminati type people, but I think that's just a word semantic at this point. Because I am very sure Ice Cube has ran into some wicked people in the industry. Now, did they come and say, hi, I'm Illuminati? No. They might come and, be openly worshiping the devil. Like when I did the Comedy Store Haunting Part 4 doc, we showed everybody knew Sam Kinison worshiped the devil and did black magic and shit like that. Everybody knew that. So I'm sure Ice Cube found some people like that. But when you're talking about the word Illuminati, that is so much bigger than just this occultic witchcraft bullshit. And that not bullshit as if it's not real, but I'm talking about it's so low level compared to the people that's actually pulling the strings on a global level. And what good does it do for them type of people to bring Ice Cube, a person at 17 years old said, hey, I want my fucking money, and left their rap group that they used as a puppet to influence a lot of kids to be demoralized and shit. This dude at 17 was smart enough to say, y'all, there's something shady going on here. I don't trust it. You think they're gonna bring that guy in to that level of shit? Now, yes, I am very sure that he's ran across devil worshippers and all that. I'm almost certain of that. And that's one thing also we got to stop doing is putting everything in the same boat. Like, I know that a lot of the low level, demonic stuff that goes on is a direct influence from the people at the top and stuff like that. But don't assume that everybody that practices witchcraft or everybody that threw up devil horns or anybody who's done any of this has anything to do with what the globalists at the top are doing. You think them globalists trust everybody? Like, here, we'll let you throw this little sign up in a fucking picture, which actually ain't even a wicked sign. It's actually a light symbol. It's actually something that, is a powerful symbol. It's just showing you that the elites on the planet know what the true power is while they teach you to hate it. So they teach you to actually hate yourself in the end. But here, you think I'm gonna let everybody in on what the fuck we're doing, this whole global agenda? No, that's why they normalize it so much. They want these people to think that this is just a lifestyle, a way of life. Why do you think most of the leftists actually believe in the ideology that they're pushing? They're not pushing this shit because, the global elites told them to. They've been conditioned to believe in this shit so that when they're pushing it, it comes off more authentic. It comes off more real. And when something's real, it attracts more higher vibrations to it. So again, it's another energy harvest at the same time. But anybody who wants to know about that, watch my video, Harvested by Energy Vampires, and you'll see exactly how I break that down. These people know the universal laws so much, dude, that it's better to have people actually buy into and believe what they're telling people other than to send somebody out there who knows they're lying, because the real gonna see through the lies anyway. And there's, what's his name? Vince McMahon has done this many times. He's also said that, you know what kayfabe is. Kayfabe in wrestling is like where they, it's a scripted thing they go by. It's just like storyline. It's not real. It's all scripted, right? He's done in many different segments to where, two people had issues with each other in the ring, that the issues in certain circumstances was actually real fucking issues. And he liked it like that because the authenticity actually bled onto the screen better than just the fake stuff. So he would let that type of shit go on all the time. And wrestling fans know about the popular incident called the Montreal Screwjob, which when Bret Hart, one of the most popular wrestlers ever, was gonna leave the WWE or F at the time. And his last match was supposed to be him winning the title and then, retiring from the WF and going to the WCW. But Vince McMahon didn't want him leaving as their champion because it was just looking like bad for business. It would, from a psychological standpoint, tell the fans that, our champion, our guy left out on top and he's going to this other league, which is going to make the other league look better because they got the guy that dominated our whole roster and left on top as the champion. He's going there. We can't have that. We need him to lose. So psychologically, you think, okay, the guy who beat him is actually the top wrestler of the whole industry, which is going to be Shawn Michaels. He wrestled Shawn Michaels, and they ended up making Bret Hart think he was going to win, and ended up like when Bret Hart or when he put him in some type of move or whatever, the referee rang the bell and granted Shawn Michaels the winner. And now what happened was a lot of people behind the scenes weren't put on to that information, because when it was all done, Bret Hart went around asking questions to a lot of the people at the top saying, hey, did you guys know about this? Did you guys know about this? They're telling him no, we didn't know about this. And why Vince McMahon didn't tell them is because he didn't want them, when they told Bret Hart that they didn't know about it, he didn't want the lie to look, you know, because a lie, a person could see through a lie easier. But he wanted them to actually be genuine when they told him, no, I didn't know about this. And they were being genuine because they didn't know about it. And that's the psychology behind a lot of this shit that goes on at the top. Don't think that these people are in on everything.
I don't know about it. Seem like it's there, but who knows?
Mm-hmm. Now, right there, you know, they're trying to just trip him up to get him to say something that sounds extra right-wingish, conspiratorial, because, you know, the Illuminati word is just got so much nut job, you know, ties to it that, you know, if they can get Ice Cube to say that, they could discredit everything he's saying about Vanguard and BlackRock and all that. So now you got to read between the lines. Ice Cube is telling you, look, it seemed like it's there, but I don't know. But then at the same time telling you, hey, these private prison companies and these record labels, they all in cahoots. He posted a tweet that showed the pyramid of the Vanguard. I mean, he's telling you they exist. Okay? But it's they using these words, these magic word spells on, you know, because like I said, the Illuminati word is tied to so much ridiculous people that think everything is a conspiracy. And now it's like if we can get him to say the Illuminati exists, we can get him to look like everybody else who says everything is a conspiracy. Like everybody who throws up who touches their index finger with their thumb is screwing people in the industry, or whoever does these hand symbols are automatically getting molested at fucking rich parties. You know what I mean? We could throw him in there with that bunch if we can get him to just acknowledge this word, so we could take the heat off the people that he's actually showing people about.
How do you beat the gatekeepers? Because I feel like we in an era where there's no gates. I feel like everybody can just do their own thing. So how do you beat the gatekeepers that still exist?
I think you persist. You don't let them stop you. You know, they there. You know, everybody that's in front of the gate ain't always paying attention. You know, I've ducked security and hit the fence before and got in. Mm-hmm. So I'll do it again.
Yeah, because it feels like gatekeeping is such a played out thing for even them to be doing. Because it's like you said, there's so many different ways to get past these gates now.
Well, it's to keep a construct. It's to keep things working the way they are. To keep certain people relegated to the bottom of the pyramid. That's why the gatekeepers are there.
And you see Charlamagne still throwing a little curveball, you know, trying to play safety for the, you know, the elites, the globalists or whatever, you know, saying, oh, gatekeeping is so played out, you know, people could just get around that. Well, dude, just because the matrix is falling apart and people are figuring out ways to defeat this shit, don't attribute that to that y'all are allowing that. No, the globalists, they don't like that. They don't like the fact that the matrix is falling apart and you know, let's just say God is pretty much destroying a lot of shit right now. Their whole game is coming to an end. Okay, that's not because y'all wanted to. So let's just cut that one out right there. And Ice Cube had to, you know, reaffirm that, like, nah, dude, there's a construct still being attempted to be set in place right here. Like the construct that they set Charlamagne in place to do. You know, let's discredit everything Ice Cube's saying here. Just ask him if the Illuminati's real. So then we could, then what's next? Ask him if he's a shape-shifting reptilian lizard. And let's see if we can get him to look crazy, because he's got a lot of people, like I said in my other blogs about this. Check out my Ice Cube videos. I've even said, this dude is explaining a lot of stuff that us so-called conspiracy theorists say, and is actually making it digestible to the average skeptic, the average person who doesn't believe in this type of stuff. He's getting them to understand it, bringing about the private prisons and the record companies in cahoots owned by these same labels or these same groups. So now the average person who would call me a conspiracy nut could look at Ice Cube and say, hey, there might be something to that. They don't like the fact that he can relay that message and put more people who've been in the dark and who've been asleep onto this type of thing. So they're trying to discredit him to the fullest right now without, you know, trying to really show their hand too much or whatever. But, you know, this is like a chess game, man. I like to see Ice Cube sparring with these people, man. you know, it's all love. It's all good at the end of the day, man. But definitely check out all the content I've been bringing. I've been dropping a lot of fire videos. And hit that like button, hit the subscribe if you ain't already subscribed, and let me know what you think up in the comments. I ain't woke, I'm up.
Crucial 13, you all appreciate it. Shout out to you.
Get crucial. I'm hungry. I need some bacon. Look at this.
Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.